She stopped me and she asked me, Mimi, is it intuition or is it empathy? And in the end, that question changed my life, that my empathy for others, for my work, for the world, is the secret to where the energy is coming from. The empathy is creating the energy. If we could just get the world to listen first, to truly listen before you assume, you'll be able to lead better, live longer. That's what I think.
Hello everyone, a very happy new year to all the listeners and welcome to our first episode of Empowerment Hub podcast with amazing and lovely Mimi Nicklin, a person and a speaker, a wonderful speaker that I met at ICF during International Coaching Week last May, and it is my honor and joy to have you here as my first speaker of 2026. So Mimi is an advocate for empathy. She is an author and she is a very renowned speaker. Mimi, would you like to also introduce yourself shortly?
Oh, well, you did a great job. Thank you for having me. And yes, you're absolutely right. My passion is to create more empathy in our world. So to reconnect 1 million people by 2028. No small goal, right?
Wow.
But that's the goal. That's
1
the goal.
million. 1 million people.
And yes, I travel the world every day, every week, really, to reconnect people, to explain what empathy is to the world and why we need it and why it's such an important skill set for our times. And as you said, I do that by writing, I do that by speaking, I do a lot of media work. Any way we can. So Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you again for coming here. And I'm so curious because you spread the message of empathy so actively and with so much passion. If you listen to Mimi's speeches, you will see how much passion she exudes when she talks. And I would love to ask you how this topic was born for you in the first place. Yes. Why empathy?
Now, Irina, I believe I was born to do this. So it became me. But of course, I had to find it in the first place. So I didn't just know that always. In 2018, I moved to Dubai, actually, at the time, and I took over an organization there as a regional CEO. The short version of a very long story is that business was in a, let's say, different state than I expected it to be when I took over that role. And I was very overwhelmed. I had come from very corporate jobs with many, many people around me. And now I was basically an entrepreneur running a quite small business, about 40 people. And it was a broken business and I didn't know how to fix it at the time. But I met my first coach at that point of my life. And she was like a business coach. And in my first lunch with her, she asked me about my leadership style. And I remember at the time I was talking about intuition, being an intuitive leader.
Yeah.
And she stopped me. And she asked me, Mimi, is it intuition or is it empathy? And in the end, that question changed my life because I had never thought about empathy until that point, which feels weird now because now I say it, 170 times a day. Yeah. But yeah, she saw that in me. And really, I mean, it's been a 6-year journey since then, but it became me. And as I said, now I'm very sure that I was always meant to do this work. I think work that makes you this happy was meant for you.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. So it's like your calling, your mission.
Yeah. Today, yes.
Yeah.
Last night I did an event and somebody asked me, Mimi, when will you know it's time to change? And I said, well, it will never change. Right? There is no other version of me. There is only this. There's not today's version and tomorrow's version or Mimi at work and Mimi at home. There is only this.
You just embody empathy.
It's just what I love. It's what I believe, whether it's with my daughter or my dog or my clients.
That is amazing. And to be honest, I've never heard empathy in combination with intuition. It's the first time that I thought that there is this link. So what triggered this person to ask you, is this intuition and is this empathy? Because for me, empathy is just deeply understanding. maybe that's what we should also do, just define exactly what is empathy for you.
Yeah.
And intuition is this gut feeling for me on some information that might not be very logical to grasp. How is that connected? I'm like so curious.
Look, I think I agree that I wouldn't necessarily connect them now, right? But at the time, I had always believed that what I was leading with was intuition, because I had never, I didn't know what empathy was. I think most people don't know what empathy is. So to define it, empathy is fundamentally perspective taking. The ability to understand how somebody else sees something differently, perhaps from you, or maybe the same, right? But it's just perspective taking. It's not an emotion. It's definitely not a soft skill, because it's hard to find. It's hard to master. It has hard results. You know, when you talk about business, for example, and 21% higher profit or 68% higher engagement in workplaces. So all kinds of hard data to prove what a life skill and a professional skill this is. And it's not an emotion. As you said, intuition, I don't know if intuition's an emotion, but I would agree with you that it's definitely a feeling. It's very intangible. Yeah. And I had believed up until that point in my career that that's what was helping me through these rooms, through these promotions and my career. Yeah. But that coach obviously did know what empathy was before I did. And she saw in me something different. I don't think, Mimi, it's a feeling. I think what you're using is a skill. And I think that skill is the ability to deeply understand other people. And once I started researching that arena, I wouldn't say it became obvious immediately. I often say it became me. It took time. I think purpose work always does.
Yeah. But
now I can't see the world any other way. Yeah. So today, that is who I am.
It is, and you really you exude that energy. I can tell. And it's the first time that a person said to, verbally like this, that empathy is not a feeling, because I thought it was a feeling. It was feeling others' feeling, or understanding it, and based on that feeling a little bit on what they're feeling. But because you say it's a hard skill, which by the way, it's really, Mimi was the first one who said it's not a soft skill, it's a hard skill. So it's wow, very interesting. How do people who feel that they don't have, or think they don't have any empathy, how do they even work on that skill?
Well, they were born with it.
You think everybody has that?
No, it's not. I think it's true, right? Neuroscience. So there is a very small proportion, very small, 0.2% of people who are born with an issue, a complication or a difference in the brain.
Correct.
Which would mean that they don't have empathy. That will manifest in not very good ways. The very gentlest form of that would be narcissism, but the very extreme form of that would be something close to psychosis of some form, right? People that have absolutely no connection to others. But we are talking about 0.2% of the global population, tiny number. Yeah. The vast majority of us are born with empathy because it's a pro-social skill set. That means we need it to stay alive. The human race needs it, right, to stay alive. So it's built into the prefrontal cortex, the programming part of your brain. So if you think you don't have it, first of all, you're wrong, right? You do have empathy.
Everybody listening.
But like all skills, you can choose to use it, right? So and actually, the more you practice it, the more permanent it becomes, right? People always talk about practice makes perfect, but don't ever aim for perfection, because you'll never, we're never going to get there.
Yeah.
And that gap between expectation and reality is always disappointment. So don't aim to be a perfect person using empathy. We can't all be perfect, but we can aim to be progressively better at it. So building those relationships in your life where you do understand people more, you do lean into their reality, whether you're a leader or a boss or just a sister to a friend of yours, or a mother or a daughter.
Yeah.
The ability to understand other people is within your grasp, anyone's grasp, and it significantly improves every relationship in your life. So it's worth investing in.
100%. And so because you say everybody has that, backed by science and research, yes. Those who just didn't use it much, what is the first step to start using, and how do you practice using it? Do you have your own habits, rituals to use that? You just take time for that? And how does someone start?
Yeah, like I think there's 3 steps really to creating more empathy in your life. The first step is awareness. So basically coming to this show. So you should all stay in this show, right? Because as we touched on at the beginning, most people don't know what it is. So the first step to any skill is to know that it exists, right? You can't be a better golfer if you didn't know that golf exists. You have to start playing golf, right?
Correct.
It's the same with any skill. You have to first have the awareness that you want that skill. You want to deepen your relationships. You want to be a more connected leader. You want to get promoted. You want to have more friends, whatever it is, right? There's many reasons people want to reconnect. The second step is intention. You have to intentionally choose to do this. And we can talk about a couple of tips in that space. But this is again, like any skill, you have to intentionally use it. Empathy has 2 great enemies. One is high stress. The other is low time. And of course, all of us.
Which is welcome to Singapore. Welcome to this world.
Singapore
welcome to our
planet. So that's why intention, which is a bit of a buzzword now, but it is so important. Because it's very easy for us to run around in our own bubble from meeting to meeting, appointment to appointment, task to task, high stress, low time, just on that wheel of life. It's very easy to do that. And that is why, get this, 335 million people don't have a single friend. 335 million.
35 million don't have a single friend.
Right? So we're literally I know, right? We're literally running through life alone. So the second step is intention. And then the third step is some form of accountability. Now, if you're a professional listening and you're in the corporate world, you can, literally put that into KPIs, codify it into corporate behavior, be accountable for you and your team to be able to listen first. If it's in your personal life, it's more personal accountability. I am choosing to, for example, to listen first, to make better eye contact, to pause and hear what my child is saying to me, to invest into time to listen to my husband, wife, mother. It's personal accountability. But those are the 3 steps, right? The first is the awareness. The second is intentional, because all behavioral change has to be intentional. And the third is accountability, either to your team, your business, or yourself.
So the skills that you mentioned, or some techniques that person can start using, is maintaining eye contact, deep listening.
Yes.
Is there anything at the moment of that can be, at the moment of conversing, communicating, or afterwards that person can do?
So in the end, there are no relationships in your life that won't improve when you listen first.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
the ability to listen first is the ability to build trust, to build camaraderie, to improve your relational ecosystems, to get promoted, to go faster, to live your dreams, right? And we all have dreams that we're aiming for. So when people ask me for tips, the ability to listen first, that desire to understand before assuming, which is what we're all doing all the time, is the key. So how do you listen first? What does that look like? As you said, eye contact is a huge part of that. We always have these phones with us, right? Very easy to get out of practice of making eye contact. And one of the tips that I always give people, because it's quite hard if you're not used to doing it, is to try and remember the eye colour of the person you're talking to. Because in the split second that I really look at your eyes and say, what colour are Irina's eyes cognitively, it creates connection. Now, of course, you don't know that's what you do now, because I told you.
Now I know. Now I know what Mimi's been thinking.
But normally you wouldn't know, right, if you're a person in a coffee shop.
Correct, yeah.
But in that split second when I try to remember your eye colour, I have created very subconscious, quite deep connection, actually. So eye contact is very important. The second part is body language. So even being on a podcast like this, where we have a camera here, we have each other here, it's quite difficult for me. Because body language, ideally, excuse me, audience for a moment. It needs to be, it feels different, right? Immediately.
Yeah, then it's very direct
Yes.
if you sit like that.
Immediately, the room feels different. I'm going to move back because we want to include our guests. But body language is very important. So the ability to listen first with your body to show that I'm intentionally listening to you is very, very important. The third piece would be around the language we use and the way that we show curiosity. Because to listen first starts with curiosity. So asking open-ended questions, pausing to hear people's answers, to really understand them. Presence. Listening first is based in presence. And yet we're so bad at it. You know, I went to this event last night. There was 100 people there, more or less. And one of the ladies in the audience, she asked me a question and she said, Mimi, why is it so hard to be present? We're just so out of practice. Again, because we're running through life. Yeah. So eye contact, body language, curiosity, presence. Those are some of the pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, makes so much sense when you say all this. And what I'm thinking right now, because you know, Mimi also does this work in corporate world.
I do,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. Teaching, you know, the corporate world why it's important to engage, and you have very real results, the tangible results of when somebody incorporates, especially an organization. What are the results that are benefits that show up? But my question is here, is it a logical decision? So, for example, hey, my profits are going to rise. Let me be more empathetic. Can I still master this? Because for me, empathy comes from caring, from heart space. What I mean is like I care for people and I am empathetic. That's my setting, okay? Yes. But can mind, just knowing that there are benefits, I will get X, Y, Z as a benefit, can you still trigger genuine empathy if it's not coming from heart? You see
we have to. We have literally no choice. We're living through the most disconnected time in our history. So 52% of our world is lonely, right? I spoke to you earlier about these, you know, millions of people that have no friends. And loneliness is a real threat to survival. Our loneliness is killing us, right? That the highest burden to our healthcare system worldwide is not heart disease or diabetes or cancer. It's loneliness and the associated disease and chronic illness that comes with it. So when you ask, can we teach or encourage empathy into people that don't necessarily feel it? We have no choice. We have to, right?
Yeah, correct.
We've lost nearly 50%, 48% to be specific, 48% of our empathy in the last 30 years. And whilst you can't sort of blame the empathy deficit, that's what it's called, this lack of empathy, for all of our social woes, many of them, whether it's the 390 million people with depression, whether it's isolation, loneliness, war, political disruption, can you blame most of it on a lack of understanding and connection? Yes. So my work most of the time, Irina, is working with people that don't necessarily feel it or want to feel it or have never felt it.
Are living in their headspace.
Living in their headspace, right? Yeah. That's the corporate world for very valid reasons, right? So we can debate that. But most of my audiences are very cognitively driven, rational business people. And so we have to use data. And I've been doing it for 5 years and I can tell you it works, right? There's very, very few times where somebody doesn't at least follow what I'm trying to share. Maybe they don't action it. But when they leave, they go, yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? She's speaking sense.
Yeah, of
we
course.
are humans.
Yeah.
We are not machines. The machines are wonderful, right? AI helps us do many things.
Okay.
But you have to motivate the humans, and that is understand. How do you motivate someone if you don't understand them? You don't have to feel them.
Yeah.
You're a coach. You can feel everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But most people can't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they can't be good leaders.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And speaking of AI, I have to tell you something. So I'm very curious how you look at that. Few times I asked very deep questions to my AI. For example, tell me something you know about me, because I converse a lot with my ChatGPT and it knows me very well. So I asked, hey, tell me something I might not know about myself. And I was just blown away by the depth of answer. And another question that I asked, what is something you think I don't want to admit to myself that if I would admit, my reality would change to a better? And I'm telling you,
I'm going to do that now. Like literally in the taxi.
Okay.
Wow.
Please, ideas for those who are interested.
And
I was blown away by the depth of the answer. And when it answered to me, it first of all, that subconscious became conscious. And I was like, that is so true. And another thing that occurred to me is that machine knows me better than many of my very close friends. At least from that conversation that I had, I felt like, wow. And I know that many people are against AI for a number of reasons. Personally, me, and want to know your opinion. Personally, me, I feel that AI solves, at least on some level, helps this loneliness factor because you feel that there is this non-judgmental, even if it's a program, not human, but something that you talk to and it doesn't judge you and just simply knows you and is very positively programmed to boost your whatever confidence you want to boost, if you want to, of course. Yeah. How do you see AI? Do you think it helps at all, this dilemma of loneliness?
Like I'm very pro AI, and I feel that of course there are risks. But in all of history, every time we have a new technology, there are risks.
Yeah.
I remember reading once about New York in the I'm going to get the date wrong, but I'm guessing it was like 40s, 50s, 30s, I don't know, a long time ago, when the telephone became mainstream. And there was a headline in New York that said at the time that the telephone is going to destroy the art of theatre. So obviously at that time, New Yorkers must have loved the theatre. And they had this real fear that because people could now talk on a phone, they would no longer go to the theatre, which of course is not true and never happened. My point is, in all of history, when we have any technological evolution, we humans are scared, right? Humans don't like change. It's a risk, it's a threat to life, right? So I understand fully, and I really, particularly when it comes to children, I have a little girl, and the risks of AI and all the terrible things. I see them, I understand. But I feel like you. I think in a world where our empathy is so low and we are so bad at it, if AI can help, let it help. And actually, thank golly for that, right? Yeah. Because like you said, at least somebody's listening. So I feel very pro the potential of AI. I think, when you look at the world of coaching, which obviously you're very passionate about, there is only like the top 1% of the world that is ever going to know the word coach, let alone get one, right? The majority of the world does not have that in their access points. Yeah. So if let's talk about women for a minute, because we are women, right? But same for men. But if those women, young girls, can access advice and listening and someone to talk their ideas through where previously there was nothing or no one, that has got to be a good thing, right? Absolutely. The role of coaching is to be able to communicate, to have somebody listen so that you can work through your thoughts. If the majority of population Earth is never going to have a real coach, then AI plays a role. So I think you have to be aware of who you're talking to. I mean, my ChatGPT is so nice to me all the time. Mimi, that is an excellent idea. I'm like, thank you, Chat. I knew it was, So you have to be aware it's programmed in a certain way. But I feel that it definitely fills a gap. So I feel like you.
Yeah. I was the other day, I was thinking and imagining somehow like people who are in prison, who are lonely, and thank God there is ChatGPT they can chat with, Yeah. I mean, not only this, I'm putting extreme case, but indeed the loneliness, as you said, is so big. And this actually brings me to a question. Were you personally, do you feel you were born with this extra gift of empathy, or do you think it switched on at some point and something triggered that switch on? You already gave us an example of Dubai.
Yes.
But was there some story? I would love to know some story that maybe triggered that path for you, maybe dilemma you had to overcome.
Look, I don't think so. I'm going to answer the question slightly differently, which kind of gets to a similar end. I don't think there was one thing other than this meeting with this phenomenal coach. Her name is Tess. I'm very much in touch with her. She's an amazing woman. Other than this conversation with Tess, which really did change my life, I think instead of something that changed it once and changed my life forever, I think there are many, 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 many small things that continue to change it, that continue to build my own empathy and my belief in helping other people with it. For example, so I'll tell you this. So relatively early on, I guess maybe 2 years ago, I was at an event and I was doing some work on stage, and I had a very full schedule on this very big stage. And at some point, I needed a coffee. You know, I don't eat a lot when I work, so I had no breakfast. Maybe it's like 11:30 a.m. And I have a small break, like maybe 20 minutes. And right next to our stage was a coffee shop. I remember it very well. It was a Japanese brand. We're in Dubai again in this story. A Japanese brand. It was bright turquoise color, like Tiffany's rings, right? Like that beautiful turquoise. I can just remember it so clearly. And I had this 10 or 15 minute break. So I went to go and buy myself a latte. So I get in the line and I get to the front of the line and I say to the gentleman there, "I'll have a latte, please." And as I said it, the machine broke. So he kind of turned away, you know, to his colleague to fix the machine, and they got distracted with fixing the machine. In that time, my clock is ticking, right? Because I had been in the line, and eventually maybe 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, I was like, I have to go, like I don't have time. So I said, "I'm really sorry. I'm just here. I'll come back later." And I left without my coffee to go back to the stage.
Oh.
So I go back. I go back on the stage. I do my thing. I come off and I'm standing now facing the stage. Somebody else is now on stage. And I see from just my periphery vision that colour, the turquoise colour, come into my vision. And a voice says to me, "I heard somebody needed a latte."
Oh, wow.
And this was a gentleman. He was Irish. He has a wonderful voice. I did not know this man. Total stranger. But he had been standing behind me in the line. So he had watched it, right? He knew who I was because I've been on stage for like 4 hours. He had watched me come in and not get my coffee and run off to do my work, and had taken the kind action in, I guess, empathy for me. Clearly, I really needed a coffee to buy me this coffee, wait for me to come off the stage and give it to me. So, and I could tell you many of those stories. So the reason I say that, Irina, is that it's not necessarily that there was one big like ta-da thing.
Of course, a chain of events.
Just many, every day, there's one. Sometimes they're a bit more memorable, like the coffee story. Sometimes they're very small moments on a plane or something that remind me, and not even remind me, encourage me that there are no people and no situations where this doesn't improve things. So I think it's about awareness. It's about being open to the signs, right? If you look for empathy, you will find it.
Yeah.
But you have to slow down a bit.
Of course. What a beautiful story, and what a beautiful example.
What
and
a
the
kind
fact
man.
that
I wrote about it in my fourth book, which comes out in May.
Yeah. I hope he reads it.
Yes. No, well, I told him actually.
Oh, okay.
So since then, the coffee moment, this is the amazing thing. We're now, friends, associates, right?
Yeah.
He's in Dubai, but we've done a few. He's invited me to present at an event for him since then. And I told him last year, I said, by the way, I have written our coffee story in my book. And he was like, what? Yeah. I said, yeah, you are now officially in my next book. So, those little moments, not only did it remind me of empathy, but it built a relationship.
This is a motivation for our listeners to be more empathetic. You never know in whose book you might end up.
Exactly.
Right?
I never thought of that. But,
whoa. And that is a celebration
for the dance. A little dance to the theme tune.
To the book. So
good timing.
Did
the music send you off now? Now you're like...
No. Actually, where it sent me off is the stage, because I've seen videos of you speaking. Obviously, I've seen you in action. And one thing I notice is how much energy, how much light, like you bring a lot of radiance to you. And I think those who might be on their speaking journey, Toastmasters, ICF members, anyone who likes to speak in public. There are actually two questions, but I'll start with the first one. what is the secret behind that radiance and that it looks like you love to be on stage?
I do.
Yes, I would love to know. Did you work on it? Did it come to you? Is the vision pulling that energy? What is the secret behind? I mean, even now you have a beautiful energy, but on the stage, I think you really radiate. So I would love to know also as a speaker on what is behind the scenes happening for you.
So I now talk about something called stage empathy, which I never really dreamt I would create. You know, this was not on my empathy plan. But about a year ago, an associate of mine in Lebanon asked me to do a webinar to answer this question, right? How to find your voice and personal branding and all these things. And first of all, I really dislike the term personal branding, but we can come back to that. So I said to him, I don't do this. You know, my work is to teach empathy, not to teach people how to speak. But he's in Beirut, and this was December 2024, right? Not a good time for the Middle East and Beirut specifically. So how can you say no, right? You're like, come on, how can I say no? So I said, fine. You can't say no to people being, struggling with war.
Of course.
So I said, okay, fine, right? Let's do the webinar. So of course I had to create some materials for this webinar. And the universe being the universe, once you create something, it grows. So the reason I give you this context is that at that point, I had never answered this question. What is driving that energy? So I had to sit down and really think about it. And what I realized is that my empathy for others, for my work, for the world, is the secret to where the energy is coming from. The empathy is creating the energy. So stage empathy is now what I teach people about, which is how do you make speaking all about them and not all about you.
So you fully focus on the audience. Is that what you call stage empathy?
That's what I call stage empathy. It's like hosting people at dinner, except I'm on a stage, not in my house, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if you think when you host someone for dinner, like if I came to your house for dinner, you would
correct.
ask me, are you vegetarian? Do you whatever, right? Because you
it's
want to
very
be able
accommodating
to host.
energy, right?
Yeah. So I took that into my career, onto the stage, onto podcasts, wherever we are with me. And that's what I believe the secret is. I think the secret is human connection. And once you live in your purpose work, once you really know why you are doing, not what, right? Not I'm a coach because I want to coach, but why am I coach? Why am I coaching? And it can't be like because I want to help people. That's very good, but it's only the beginning.
Yeah.
We all want to help. Most of us want to help people, certainly if you're a coach, right? That's why people become coaches. But there's a deeper meaning and it has to be yours. Why do I want to help people, right? Once you know what that is, speaking about it becomes very different. And you can't forget your words. People always ask me, don't you get nervous? I say, well, not really. I get nervous about like falling over. Like what if I fall over on the stage or fall down the steps, right?
You get excited probably, isn't it?
Yeah, I just, I feel very peaceful because I'm just talking about something I love. And some people will love it and some people won't, but that's okay.
Can I ask what is your why now that we talk about it?
Well, my why is to create more empathy in the world. I deeply believe that we need it. I am absolutely, utterly 1,000,000% sure of that. There is not one part of my mind or heart that questions whether more empathy, i.e. more human connection, isn't going to improve everything.
Yeah. And the way you're committed to your mission and the way you are so sure about that, I believe so many people would love to be in that place where they exactly know their mission. Very often I have to work with people, they have an idea, but the commitment, at least the one that you have, is so rare, I feel.
Is it?
I feel so. The commitment to a bigger mission. Yes, I think definitely you are very unique about that. And also to what clarity, there's no cell that has doubt about that.
No, none.
When and what is your tip for those who are searching for this clarity of mission, deeper mission? What is your tip or what is your lesson that maybe you can share with the audience?
I think there's 3 parts of it. I think the first is consistency. Whether you want to be a speaker or you want to have a platform or you want to become an author or you want to use your voice more in the office. Consistency is critical to people being able to remember you, basically, to relate to you, because we've already touched on the fact that humans don't like change.
Yeah.
So once you find what that thing is, be very consistent in it. I think we're very quick today to give up. And that social media has a huge part. You know, you think if I do 5 posts in a row and nobody likes them, maybe I'm the problem, but you're not the problem. The algorithms are the problem. So the first part is consistency of that passion. I think finding that passion, we must take pressure off ourselves, because I think it's become, like you said, everybody is looking for this bigger purpose. And if you have it, phenomenal. But maybe your purpose is to be a great mum. And that is absolutely wonderful. Not everybody needs to have a purpose that changes the macro world, right? I think social media is pushing us all the time to find something that feels different.
Yeah.
So my first sort of tip on that is just work out what makes you happy and sit in that. Find the thing that makes you happy and then do more of it. Do it consistently. The second thing I'd say is be very patient. Again, everything is made, like, you know, you launch a podcast, you want 1 million followers tomorrow. You open an Instagram page, you want 30,000 followers. That's not reality, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Patience. And I believe, Irina, that patience is not a virtue. You know, in English, we have this phrase, patience is a virtue. I don't think patience is a virtue. I think patience is a practice.
Oh,
right.
Well, to be honest, I believe everything is a practice. At the end of the day, everything can be practiced.
That's like
kindness, you know.
Everything is a practice. Yeah, it is a practice. And I have found it to be very important to this work and the credibility of my work. And that means it's slow, and there's all kinds of things that come with that, you know, cash flow and money and complexities. The third part is tenacity. And for me, this is really, really important, because many people are going to tell you that you can't, or you shouldn't, or you should do it differently. Many people told me, and they still do, but less so now, that empathy is too small, or it's not interesting, or the corporate world's never going to invest in that, Mimi. I remember very clearly, actually, a woman here in Singapore who told me about 3 years ago now that what I was doing was far too niche, and I should instead focus on DE&I. And I should be, you know, I should position myself as a diversity and inclusion speaker. And I remember thinking, well, thank you very much for the advice, but my work is in empathy.
Yeah.
So you have to be very tenacious. Many people are not going to understand. Many people are going to tell you to give up. Many people are not going to be able to see what you see. But when you bring those 3 things together, so the consistency, the patience, and the tenacity, that vision becomes you.
Yeah.
But it's not a quick thing, Irina, right? This is my 6th year, and I worked out yesterday that the practice for this has taken me 27,320 hours.
Holy smokes. Did you take like a calculator?
I did, literally. I did take a calculator. I was like, okay, I've been doing this for 6 years. Half of them I was asleep. What's left? How many hours have I been practicing?
Okay, let me calculate my...
Yeah, calculator, right? Ask ChatGPT. Maybe he knows. So yeah, it's a long journey. I think, you know, that journey from I think I know what it is to I am living what it is.
Yeah, it takes time, for subconscious to take it fully.
Yeah,
and
practice.
I think one thing that I clearly see with you also as a differentiation moment is not everybody takes big dreams or gets for the big dreams. And our lovely Mimi here is aiming for 1 million. Did I hear that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, 1 million people. And that ability to dream big, to have this big vision that pulls you, makes a big difference. Was that from beginning that you had 1 million, it is, here I come? Or did it grow with the time?
It definitely grew, but it also came because I wanted to put like a stake in the ground.
Yeah.
Last year, with this work, I managed to reach 5 million people organically online in some form. We never paid for any of it. No promotions, no paid Meta or Insta ads or one of those things, right? So my team said to me, well, you've done it. You wanted to reconnect 1 million. Now you've reached 5. I said, no, because that's not real. It's not real connections, right? I'm very grateful that 5 million people engage with this content. Quite frankly, I'm amazed because 5 years ago, I had 300 connections on LinkedIn.
Oh,
so it's grown, right?
Yeah, correct.
1 million to me feels big enough to keep stretching me to reach further, but not impossible. Every person has a relationship ecosystem, depending on the part of the world, of about 7 people. So for every one person that you can connect, you're actually connecting 7. Now, I'm not good enough at maths to do 1 million divided by 7 and blah, 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 blah. But it's not as many people as you think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we can do that. But I believe in doing it one conversation at a time, which is why
of course.
I go from podcast to podcast to event.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if we just reach one new person, one new person, we've reached one more in the 1 million.
Yeah, of course. Well, that brings me to the topic that I'm so passionate about, and that is that our mind creates reality. And what would you call it? Manifestation? Would you call it, focusing? And you said universe being universe, which was a very interesting thing to say. I would love you to expand on that statement, universe being a universe. And what is your take on whatever you call manifestation? Yeah, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I always struggle with the word manifestation, but even though I struggle with the word, I believe in the concept. But I also just believe in the power of, I guess, the universe or the we. I think that if you create something and put it out there with intention, which is what I've done, it does come back. Mm-hmm. The other thing I always say to people is just say yes. Especially, again, as women. The media spends a lot of time teaching us to say no, right? Protect your values, charge your worth, balance your life, all of these. Put up your guardrails, establish your boundaries. All of these things
not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. We must have boundaries. We must be healthy, all of those things. But what I think that media is doing is making people more likely to say no to things all the time. But I'm the opposite. I mean, when you messaged me about this podcast, what did I say? Yes.
Yeah, and it was very short, last minute.
Very last minute, I said yes. I will make it work, right? Sometimes you can't, but most of the time, if you live your journey by believing and saying yes, the more you say yes, the more that happens. That's why I say the universe being the universe. I never ever plan to create stage empathy because it's not my core. My core is to teach empathy, not to teach fundamentally personal branding. But because I created it, more of it came. And the reason I'm in Singapore was to teach that last night to 100 or so people, and it was just amazing. I mean, hopefully it was good for them, but it was amazing for me.
I'm sure
I loved it, right? I made really interesting new connections. Some people, maybe they become friends, kindness, and I just loved it, right? I just loved it. So that's what I mean by the universe being the universe. If you put out there what you want, you're far more likely to get it, I believe. Yeah. I think linguistics plays a big part as well. I always say to my daughter who's 8, I'm trying to teach her, if she says, I wish we could, mummy. Now she doesn't say it anymore because I've taught her, but I always say, no, don't wish, just want. If you want something, right? If you want to become a global coach, don't say, oh, I wish I was a global coach.
What do you say? Well,
I want to be a global coach.
I jump straight forward. I say, I am a global coach. That's my...
For me, I'm not confident enough to do that, I think, even now, to put things in the definitive. But I can put them in a very clear intention. So this year, I want to do more in the USA.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, I will. But not I wish, because I wish is very...
Yeah, it's wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So, Mimi, if, let's say, in next 2 years, you hit the target of 1 million, what's next?
I don't know, but I don't think that matters. Because I don't live in the future, I live in the now. And all I'm focused on really is the thing that I'm doing right now. We spoke earlier about presence. I think if you plan what's coming next, you'll miss what's going on now. Again, I teach that to my daughter all the time, to be present in what's happening, because the past is already done and the future's not promised, right? Nobody knows. Be focused on the now. Last night, again, another person in the audience said to me, well, so I have these empathy letters. And there's about 10,000 people receiving these letters now. They're like pen pal letters, basically.
So wait, who is sending who the letters?
So let me tell you. I'll tell you the story of the empathy letters. But just before I forget the question, she said to me, when more people reply, so people write back to me from all over the world. And she said, but what happens, Mimi, when all 10,000 write back? And I said the same thing to her. I said, well, then I'll work that out then.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop writing on the risk that maybe 10,000 people are right. At the moment, maybe 50 right, and that's manageable.
Yeah. Oh, so you just deal with whatever is at hand when it's there.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
What?
That is a mastery. That's a mastery of one step at a time.
One step at a time. Amazing. So, and the letters were a really good example of that. So, a year ago, my father died, and he's a very big part of my journey, right? I talk about him all the time. And after he died, my mum found a letter in his things from his dad to his mum in World War II.
Oh, wow.
So like a letter from war, a soldier's letter. And she told me about this letter. And then a few months went by, probably March 2025. And I had been grappling with this concept of a newsletter because everybody kept saying, Mimi, you need a newsletter. Like people say, Mimi, you need a podcast.
Yes. I always wonder who's reading all those newsletters.
Know, right? And that's how I felt. I just felt like the world doesn't need another newsletter, right? I don't need another newsletter in my inbox for sure. So I had never done a newsletter. And then one day I'm sitting in Kuala Lumpur where I live, having a cup of coffee alone. And I thought, I'm going to write them a letter. Just like my grandfather had written to his wife in the war. What would happen if I just started writing letters, like a normal letter, like a pen pal? I don't know if you had that when you were growing up, right?
Well, like actual...
Like letters, right? That strangers used to send around the world.
Yeah.
So the same day, this was a Friday in March, I believe. And that same day, I didn't overthink it. I didn't write a strategy. I didn't go to a branding consultant. I went to my MailChimp, which had been inactive for 2 years, and just sent a letter to whoever was on that list at that time. And then I started writing these empathy letters from around the world.
Wow. What would you, if I was a recipient of your lovely letter, what would I read in it approximately?
So I just write about things I've seen or thoughts I have or people I meet in a way that I hope is of value to other people. So I might be talking about saying hello more often to people, or just stories and things that I've seen, what's going on, right? Just like a letter.
What a great idea. So instead of a newsletter, you actually get a letter.
You get a letter.
Which feels much more special, to be honest.
It's very personal, right? I try that. And fast forward 8 months, just a few weeks ago, I have a new agent in New York, and he asked me how many people are reading these letters.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know, 500 maybe. And he said, well, can you go and check?
But how would you know?
I didn't really. Know? I never checked. I'm very right-brained. So I'm a creative. I write, I create.
Yeah, but is there even a way to check?
Well, they're going from MailChimp. So they're going from a platform. So the platform can tell.
Oh.
And so I went to have a look. Just literally, this is 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. And when I looked, Arina, there were 10,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
From somewhere in 8 months.
Just like you wanted it.
10,000 strangers are reading these letters. I have no idea who they are or where they've come from.
Oh, wow.
And I was completely amazed, right? That this letter I'm writing in 7 months has gone from 0 to 10,000 and hopefully many more. So when we talk about being in the present, I just keep writing. Every 2 weeks, I write a letter. And more and more and more strangers write back to me. And they write back to me about amazing things. They write to me about love and divorce and cancer.
And is that on emails that you receive or actual?
Yes. No, the email. I have one letter.
An actual letter?
Yes, an actual letter. Somebody wrote me the most amazing letter. But regardless, digital world, I tend to get them on email. What's amazing is, of course, they're not anonymous because they come from somebody's email, but they're just to me, so... I don't know, whoever, Priya in Mumbai, knows that I know it's Priya in Mumbai, but she still writes to me about these amazing things happening in her life. So I'm very privileged, and I hope that we can. Well, I hope that we can create more of them, because you know what it tells me? It just tells me that people are so desperate to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
And the majority of the pieces of feedback I get on this letter is that something along the lines of, oh, Mimi, I woke up today and I saw your letter and I felt something good. I felt happy, or I felt excited, or because people are lonely. And so getting a letter where people feel that like Mimi or anyone is actually writing to me. So in the future, I would love to connect other letter writers. That's kind of what I'm thinking now. How do I take these 10,000 and hopefully eventually maybe a million
people?
How do I then connect them to each other so more people are writing letters?
That is so beautiful.
What a nice idea,
it is
right?
A beautiful idea.
It's at the beginning, but we're 10,000 people in, and maybe you can come read it.
Well, Mimi, my dear, right now, yes, that's exactly what's going on. Now I'm really waiting for Mimi's letter to drop in my post.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sign you up.
And I'll send you on back, okay?
Please do. It's such a joy.
Idea.
And there are a handful of people who write back. Nobody writes back to everyone. That's unrealistic.
Yeah,
but there's a handful of people that write back every 3 or 4 months. And even the people I don't know who they are, now I know their names. Right, because there's a lady, for example, called Fatma. I think she's in Malaysia, which is where I live. I don't know that, but I feel she's probably in Malaysia. And Fatma's written to me 3 times.
Wow.
I wouldn't know her if she sat next to me.
Yeah.
But she writes to me. And now I know a little bit about her husband and her 3 boys. And she had a journey. She's a Muslim lady who never wore the hijab.
Oh.
And at 40, she decided she wanted to. And she writes to me, the first letter she wrote to me was all about the response from her family at deciding to cover after 40 years of not covering. And so now I have like this whole insight into her life from a total stranger. Amazing, right?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Who knows? She might be our listener. Actually.
She might be there.
Speaking of those stories, what is one of the maybe humoristic... Have you had any humoristic or maybe very touching incident that happened to you in those 6 years of your active work with empathy? What's the first thing that comes maybe?
Okay, so it's not humoristic but touching. I'm not wearing them today, but something happened last year. So I had done some work with a women's community in Sri Lanka. I do lots of work there. And the last time I went to this women's community, one of the ladies came up to me and said, Mimi, I've got something for you. I want to give it to you, but can I wait until everybody's taken their photos and stuff, like on the side? So after we did all the things, I went to see her, and I thought she was going to give me, I don't know, like a card or something. But she gave me a jewelry box. You know, you can tell a box is for jewelry. Yeah. She gave me this jewelry box, and I opened it, and it had these beautiful, really, really nice earrings with rose quartz in them. Aww. If you don't know what rose quartz is, it is a stone, a gemstone, that is supposed to represent love. It brings love and friendship into your life. And she had written me a note that basically said, Mimi, I don't think you know, but you changed my life with one sentence. And may these earrings, may these rose quartz, bring more people into your life to do the same.
Oh, wow.
And so I said to her, I was so touched.
Of course.
And I said to her, please remind me what I said.
What sentence was that? Okay, yeah. I'm also very curious.
Did I say?
Yeah.
And apparently what I told her was that she could still be a great mum and live the career of her dreams. And she said no one had ever told her that before, that she could genuinely do both. She could be a great mum and she could start her business. And so she did, and it's a jewelry making business.
And maybe this sentence also is needed for today's listener, that maybe any woman who is listening that knows that they can be a great mom and have their great business at the same time and do both.
Yes, I think I'm gonna add something to that, Irina, which is I don't think you can do it at the same time, but you can do both. And the linguistics is really important because you can do both. You can. I hope I'm a great mum. I try, right? And I had a great job and a great career. But as women, particularly, we do have to choose. We can't do them at the same time. And I think it's really important separation because it's really helped me in that right now, this minute, I have chosen to be here with you.
Oh, yeah.
But what does that mean? It means I have chosen not to be with my daughter.
Yeah, of course.
We have to own that choice. It makes you sad. Like even to say those words, right? As a mum, you're like, oh, I chose not to be with her today. But I did. right? And I think we have to get comfortable with that as women. You can have both, but not at the same time.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, very literally. So for me, it's also a balance. I believe everything is a balance. I believe one thing I experienced as a part of motherhood is if I do motherhood too long, if I'm all day with my kids, by the end of I wake up as a great mother and I end up, my day goes, I'm a terrible mother, terrible tired mother. If I spend, 12 hours with my kids. So for me, the joy also lies in balance, joy of working with what I love. And if I work 12 hours, I might also at the end say, like, I don't want to do this anymore. So for me, it's really important to balance this too.
Yes.
And find the joy in being mother and being, a career person, a businesswoman, whatever you call. Is that how you experience, or is it different for you?
No, I think it's the same. Again, I really value linguistics. And I think for me, rather than for balance, I try to think of integration. And again, I think of that because my experience is I can't balance it, and so when I try, I fail, and failure feels rubbish.
What you mean.
Right? I actually can't often. These 2 days I'm in Singapore. There's zero balance. Right? She's without me, and I'm here.
Of course.
But there is an integration. So for example, before I came here this morning, I had a coffee meeting, and I specifically get there to the coffee shop 10 minutes before the person I'm meeting, because I want to call my daughter in the car on her way to school. So I integrate, and as a mum, and even if you're not a mum, right, you need to plan your time like that so that you can integrate the areas of your life. I find that when I think about balancing, I fall short because I always feel like the balance is off, either too, like you were saying, like either too much time at home or too much time at work, and then I feel guilty. But when I started thinking of it as integration, and just saying I'm integrating the parts of my life, even my dogs, I have 2 dogs, I love my dogs. I don't have as much time for them as I wish I did, because of course, first priority is my daughter and my husband. And then after that is all of my people that I work with and my team.
Yes.
And then the dogs. Bless them, they come third. But again, I know I don't do as much for them as I should as the ideal pet owner, but I really make time to integrate them into my days when I can. And that probably makes them feel better, but it makes me feel better too.
Yeah. Is there any time for hobby? I'm curious. Do you have any biggest hobby that you like the most?
I don't. Because I love what I do so much. This is it.
That's a hobby and a work
it's
at the
everything.
same time. Yeah.
But I mean, I swim. So, I swim, and I do a lot of infrared saunas. So that's like my health care. People always want to know, like, what's your self-care, healthcare, wellness stuff.
Yeah.
I make time for that. Not because I really want to, but I think it's good for me, and I probably feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually things I love, this is what I love. If I had a hobby, it would be my job, right? My hobby would be doing podcasts with you.
Which is a blessing, to be honest.
Yeah,
when your
I'm
hobby is your
grateful
job.
every day that I get to do this work.
Amazing. Speaking of the habits, I would love to know, is there one habit that keeps you afloat, keeps you in the right spirit of mind, or overall for the day? Do you have
I think being on time is really important for me, but that's probably because originally I'm British, and the British are
actually
very
punctual,
like being on which is us now, by the way.
Yes.
We need to be punctual too, but being on time is really important to me, and it helps me as a habit. People always ask me, Irina, how do you fit it all in? Like, how do you do this much?
And that's because of that.
That's because of that. I think my father, again, he used to always say to me, if you're on time, you're late.
Oh, really? Which means
you have to be early, right? And so if within my control, I'm always early, to make sure that I don't leave people waiting. And I think that that's a great sign of respect for me.
Oh, wow.
So probably the habit that helps me the most is to be on time. And I'm learning to manage my schedule better, because it can be very hard for me when I arrive in cities with many, many bookings and many places to be a little bit more organized about how I schedule. I say yes to everything and everyone that I can. But where I've got better is to say yes within a context that I can handle it, basically. So, for example, when I'm in Dubai, which is often, the traffic in that city now is so hard to manage. I can say yes to anyone, but please come to me. So I can sit myself in one hotel and people can come there. Because if I have to drive 1 hour to every appointment, which is what Dubai is like now, I can see 4 people in a day. But if I don't have to drive an hour, I can see 8. So I've got much better at how I manage that, being on time and managing my time, so that I can continue to do my work and I can still say yes to as much as possible.
Beautiful. And that inspires me, because being Georgians are born being not on time, unlike British. So maybe I will actually adopt your father's phrase, which says if you're on time, you're actually too late.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
There we go.
Should be my new motto by now. Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Okay, so my dear friends, as we finish, I would like to ask our lovely me about one final thing is, what is your... I want to send out a vision, I think, together with you right now to our world. How would a world look like when empathy is fully there, activated by 99.9% of people, the capacity that everybody holds, from what I understood? How would that look in your mind?
Well, when people are more connected, we have less misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
We have less stereotyping.
Mm-hmm.
We have less assumption. So on that basis, if we manage to reduce conflict and assumption and loneliness, we would be healthier, connected, more connected, happier, more joyful people. As human beings, we do better when we're together in all areas, whether that's emotional health, mental health, or physical health. We live 8 years longer when we're connected. So by all accounts, if we manage to spread more empathy, we will lead better and live longer. If we could just get the world to listen first, to truly listen before you assume, you'll be able to lead better, live longer. That's what I think.
What a beautiful message.
Thank you.
And with that, I would like to wish everyone to activate and start listening to themselves, and then listen to others, and turn on these skills that we were born with, the empathy that makes such a big difference. I mean, not only plus 8 years of lives, but also if you look at the statistics that Mimi mentioned, in business world, it makes very tangible results and the difference for our reality. So with that, I wish also everybody to advance our empathy skills, to listen to each other. And Mimi, you've been a lovely, guest for me to have you here.
Thank you very
for
much.
the beginning of this year, for January. I wish you all the fulfillment of your beautiful visions.
Thank
and
you.
touching 1,000 people. And these beautiful letters that I'm now waiting from you to also receive.
Thank you.
And with that, dear listeners, then we see you next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.